Hey y'all, Irix Guy here, and just got it out of the box, and this is my second video that I've filmed pertaining to the Tamron 28-75 lens. So if you're looking for this lens, expand this video's description and then click the link there and you can find where to order it, the UV filter, and obviously the camera body that I use it in conjunction with, etc. But this video, I just want to talk about the build quality. If you're like me, you know, you want something that's well made, but you know, ultimately something that's well made, but something that performs well too. And what I found on the internet before I decided to make the purchase decision is that a lot of people were commenting about the build quality of the Tamron, and honestly, it had me on the fence. You know, I was looking at the videos in 4K and looking at how good they look. This has a constant f2.8 aperture. I was looking at how good everything looked. Still photos looked exceptional. I mean, to do a side-by-side comparison with the videos and photos that I found online, this, from what I've seen from others, is right on par with the Sony G Master 24-70. Now, the G Master 24-70, I've got several videos that I filmed with it. That's a great lens, very good, but it's very heavy. And I'm not just saying heavy because it's like it's adding to the size of your kit that you're lugging around and this, that, and the other, but it's heavy because when you put it on the front of a camera, such as the A7 III that I'm filming this with, it makes it heavy. You know, it makes it want to fall forward, and that's a recipe for breaking a lens, in my opinion. But this thing is much lighter. It's much smaller than the 24-70 G Master. I really like the size and weight is great because I shoot with primarily I use primes. I use several Zeiss Batis lenses, Zeiss Voxia, but to be able to have a high quality f2.8 aperture zoom lens to put in the middle, you know, this will hopefully be a great lens. Again, at the time of filming this video, this is only my second video. My first video was the unboxing. But talking about the build quality of this is, it's lightweight, but it by no means feels cheap. And that was a concern that I had before I received it. The other concern that I had were the, and people have commented about this, the zoom ring and the focus ring. They're opposite of what they are on most lenses, but people had commented about the zoom ring and the focus ring. I think they feel fine. It's got a rubberized feel. You know, maybe more on the softer plasticky type feel than rubber, but it feels fine to me, and it's ridged, and I feel like I can, you know, even if I was a little bit sweaty, I could still zoom or focus. It feels very smooth to me. Obviously, this does not have a focus hold like the much more expensive G Master has. It does not have an autofocus to manual focus toggle button. But again, I've mapped a key on my A7 III to switch between autofocus and manual focus. So out of the box, the build quality of this does not disappoint. I was seriously expecting to feel like I was holding something cheap in my hands, and I definitely don't have that feel. Yes, it's plastic, but the size and the weight, you know, I would rather have this size and this weight, and that's why I'm going with this instead of the 24-70 G Master. I would rather have this travel size and travel weight than something that's heavier. I mean, ultimately, I'm hoping I'm not going to be in a situation where I'm banging around camera bodies and camera lenses that aren't protected in a padded case. If I'm doing that, something's wrong. So, you know, I treat my camera equipment very, you know, with gentle hands. You know, I'm very careful with it. So the build quality for me, after holding this in my hands, is not a problem at all. It feels very nice, and it by no means, in my opinion, feels cheap. The lens hood feels fine, nice plastic type material. Came with a lens cap. If you watch my unboxing video, you should have seen that the first thing I did before even taking the lens cap off is screw on a high quality UV filter. And you can expand this video's description and check the link there to find where to order the UV filter like I'm using. But again, that's a matter of personal preference. A lot of people are like, man, UV filter will degrade your clarity. But my stance on that is that, number one, I'm not going to get a cheap plastic UV filter. I'm going to get a high-end UV filter such as this. And my thoughts is that a lens becoming dirty and or scratched because it's unprotected could greatly degrade video and photo quality. Whereas having this, if this gets dirty or damaged, hey, this thing gets scratched, I'll get another UV filter and replace it. So again, it's a matter of personal preference. But yeah, just everything here. And I want to point out it's got a, it is, again, I wouldn't say it's weatherproof or anything like that, but it does have a little ring right there. A little rubber type gasket, I guess you could call it, right there. So, from that perspective, not only is the build quality of this lens beyond acceptable in my opinion, it doesn't feel like it's built like a tank like the G Master, but it's also not heavy and as large as the G Master. So, again, I've got the little gasket there, so I have a better sense of security. Obviously, I'm never going to use this camera or any of my cameras in the rain. And if I do, they're going to be covered with this kit that I've got that I can put the camera in to keep it completely dry. So that's not of concern to me. And when I'm transporting my lenses, I'm using my waterproof backpack, or a dry bag. So, I never want any of my camera equipment or any of my electronics equipment, rather, for that matter, to become exposed to water. But yeah, really good feel. Again, I'm beyond impressed with the build quality, because I completely expected to take this thing out and feel like I was holding a cheap piece of plastic, and that is by no means the case. This feels exceptionally well made, and for me, if this performs like I expect it to, for me that's a huge advantage over the heavier and larger G Master. Now, it is worth mentioning, this is not quite as wide as the G Master. This is 28 to 75. But the advantage is that I get 75 instead of 70 on the tele end. So for portraits, I'm hoping that additional 5 millimeters is really going to make those portraits look even better. So it's a matter of how you look at this. In my kit, since I use this, I've got a 25 millimeter prime lens, I've got an 85 millimeter prime lens, and then I've got a 50 millimeter prime lens. So this right here is the perfect lens for me. Now, obviously, I need a super. Well, I'd like to have a super telephoto, and I'm hoping that if I'm impressed with this Tamron, that Tamron will hopefully bring us out what would be really good would be something that would reach out to 600 millimeters. But realistically, I bet they'll probably release a 70 to 200 or something next. And I hope they do, because this lens has been wildly popular, and it's really hard to find. Fortunately now, though, you can expand this video's description and then click the link there to find where to order it online. But for a while, it was sold out everywhere, and once I put it in my hands, I can tell why. I can definitely feel the quality, and this video is just the first hands-on. Haven't even used it yet. So subscribe to my channel, ring that bell icon, check out my Tamron 28 to 75 millimeter video playlist, and check out all my videos, because I plan to put this lens through its paces. I really want to see what it can do for 4K video. That's going to be my primary use case. I want to see how well it can perform with photos, with still photos, and just see how it performs in relation to my primes. I mean, there's typically never going to be a zoom lens that's going to perform as well as a fixed focal length or prime lens. But if it does its job convincingly well, this is probably the lens that'll probably stay on my camera for the bulk of the time. And again, I can't brag more about the awesome size and weight. I mean, this thing is, I had one of the Sony FE Zeiss, Sony Zeiss, Zony, whatever you want to call it, that was 24 to 70. And unfortunately that lens, it wasn't the sharpest lens. So I'm hoping that this lens will be a lot sharper than that Sony Zeiss 24-70, and I completely expect that it will be. And having that constant f2.8 aperture for video is going to be awesome. And I'm just stoked to think about how well this is going to perform. So I hope I got y'all excited, because I'm definitely excited. Again, subscribe, ring that bell, comment below, tell me what you think, and y'all have a great day. Hey y'all, iRick Guy here. Thanks again for your viewership. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring that bell icon to be notified whenever I post another video. If you're looking for iRick Guy's Adventure Channel merch, like this t-shirt and a lot of other cool stuff, expand this video's description. You can find it all there. Y'all have a good day.